You are listening to Let's Talk Trio on podcasts. Keep up with the latest episodes by downloading the Podbean app or stream episodes via our social media accounts. Search for Let's Talk Trio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This podcast episode is brought to you by Longsdale Publishing. Is your program seeking ways to assess your students' college readiness? Does your program need a tool to document the effectiveness of your program? Longsdale Publishing is excited to offer the Strategic Learning Assessment, a 20-minute online assessment that provides recommendations and strategies to improve academic performance across 11 learning areas: communication, critical thinking, effective learning strategies, focus and concentration, growth mindset, persistence, seeking help, sense of belonging, stress management, test preparation, and time management. For as little as $3 per student, the Strategic Learning Assessment identifies strengths and areas for growth, along with tailored recommendations for each learning area. Want a complimentary sample account for yourself and 5 students? Contact Longsdale Publishing at 727-389-8026. Again, that number is 727-389-8026. Or visit our website for more information at www.longsdale.com. That website again is www.longsdale.com. Longsdale Publishing, your partner in student success. This episode is sponsored by StudentAccess. StudentAccess, the leader in Trio software. StudentAccess is an online database solution that allows Trio programs to track their students' information, connect with students by text messages, streamline the APR, and work from anywhere, all online, with automatic updates for changes from the Department of Education. Their technical support team includes former Trio staff and has over 50 years of combined experience working with Trio. Make it easier to focus on your priority, the students. For more information and to request a free demo, visit their website at www.studentaccess.com or call them toll-free at 1-800-801-1232. That website again is www.studentaccess.com or 1-800-801-1232. Be sure to share your favorite episodes on your social media by tapping that share button. This is a great way to support the podcast. Now here's your host, Juan Rivas.
Thank you, Amelia, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, listener, and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Trio. This is Season 7, Episode 8. I am your host, Juan Rivas. In today's episode, we have Khadijah Dee, Trio alum and Instructional Design Project Manager at eDesign Consulting. Khadijah Dee is on the podcast to share her own life experience, her Trio journey, college experience, her current role, and joining the speaker circuit to talk with Trio students. Coming up in just a bit, Khadijah Dee. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Vialpando, Rosario Riley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Jeff Nepute, Angelica Valdez, Felicia Rivera, Eric LaMaster, Jeff Kahlden, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, TheTrioStore.com, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for Trio graduation stoles. Longsdale Publishing, and StudentAccess. Thank you so much for your support of this podcast. You too can be a sponsor of the podcast. Head on over to Patreon and search for Let's Talk Trio. Choose one of 4 patron levels. You can support this podcast for as little as $1 a month. If you own a business that serves the Trio community and want to sponsor the podcast, we have different sponsorship packages available. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is @Let'sTalkTrio. Your support helps lift Trio voices. If you'd like to nominate a participant, staff, or alumni to be on the podcast, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. Again, a great episode featuring Khadijah Dee, Instructional Design Project Manager at eDesign Consulting and Trio alumna. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Hi, Trio Nation. My guest on the Let's Talk Trio podcast is an Instructional Design Project Manager at eDesign Consulting and is a Trio alum. She graduated from the University of South Carolina in Lancaster with Associates in Business Science, a Business Administration and Management program in 2015. She earned her bachelor's from the University of South Carolina Upstate in Business Administration in 2017 and obtained her master's from Liberty University in Business Administration, her MBA in International Business in 2023. When she is not busy working, my guest enjoys speaking at Trio functions around the nation, traveling, and spending time with family and friends. Welcome to the podcast, Khadijah Dee Cook. Khadijah, welcome.
Thank you so much, Juan. I'm so happy to be here. How are you?
We are excited to have you here. I'm doing well. How are things going with you?
They are going great. I feel so amazing to be a part of this podcast and to get to share this time with you all today.
Wonderful, wonderful. How are things in Houston? If I understand, you're in Houston, or are you based somewhere else?
So I am in Houston. Fun fact about me, I'm bi-coastal, so I live between Houston and the Carolinas. So 50% of the time I'm in Houston, and the other 50% of the time I'm in the Carolinas with my family and friends.
Wow. So you live split 50-50 between Texas and the Carolinas. Wow. Does that and not to follow the theme of taxes for April, right? But how does that work for you? Like, you just split your time living one space and then the other?
Yeah, I'll come here. I'll probably be in Texas for about like 3 weeks or so. And then I go to the Carolinas for about 3 weeks or so. And it's getting ready to be summer. So I like to spend my summers with those Carolina blue skies. And then I come back to Houston and we do it all over again.
I understand. So I split this next question up is, what do you like most about Houston? And what do you like most about being in Carolina, in one of the Carolinas?
I think Houston, for me, I love the diversity. There's so many opportunities here. I'd say I'm about 70% fluent in Spanish. So it gives
awesome.
It gives me an opportunity to speak Spanish every day. And I come in contact, and it's so amazing. You never know who you're going to see. You never know what you're going to see, especially with the weather, the people. It's just an amazing place to be. And then, of course, the Carolinas has a place in my heart because I grew up there. My family's there. When you go there, you just feel a sense of, home, and you just fit in. So I love that there too.
Absolutely. So in the intro, it was shared that you love traveling. Can you share what started or what created that path for you to enjoy traveling? What is it about traveling that you enjoy? Because most folks would say, I'm exhausted from traveling.
I think when I was younger, I've just kind of always had this big imagination. They always tell us to like explore. There's so much out there. And I'm like, you know what? I want to see what's out there. And so I took my first plane ride in 2016. My college roommate, her name's Javon. She was from Indianapolis, and she just kept talking about the state fair. And one of their things at the state fair is corn, and that's my favorite food. And I'm like, I have to go there. And so I went there, and I just fell in love with the corn. I fell in love with her family. I fell in love with the vibes of just being away. And you can be whoever you want to be when you're out of town. And so that kind of just sparked the interest to like see what's out there. And one of my favorite places in the entire world is Belize. I can see myself retiring there and just like enjoying the breeze and drinking a drink out of a coconut every day.
That is awesome. So retirement goals for sure.
For sure.
What is something that you are proud to have accomplished so far this year? We're only 4 months into 2025. Are you very proud of something that you've accomplished at this point?
I am. I recently got a new position as a consultant with the company, and I'm proud about that because they saw my hard work and dedication on my resume, and so to
Hmm.
be able to provide insight and consult them with some things is very major for me. So I feel good about that. That's just one of the accomplishments that I've knocked off this year, being able to still work with eDesign and being able to consult here at this new company as well.
Wonderful. Did you have any specific goals for 2025?
I think 2024 really just shook us up so much
Oh, yeah.
with everything that was
Tell me.
happening. So I was thinking to myself, like, just survive the year. So,
Survive. Yeah.
so the fact that I made it through Q1 is like major for me.
Hmm.
So I don't have any like super duper like major goals. I'm just really trying to take it one day at a time, take myself more seriously, get more out there with my motivational speaking, and take my content creation a little more serious these days. So I'm sticking to those goals and I'm hitting them off one at a time.
That's wonderful. What is a highlight of your current position? If you want to share about your current position or even as a speaker, can you give us some highlights and what do you currently enjoy?
I think I just enjoy being able to encourage people and let people know that there's hope out there. So many of us go through things in our lives and we will sometimes get stuck in that position or we'll sometimes get stuck in that mindset. And so just being able to share my experiences throughout life and hey, this is what I went through, but this is how I overcame that. That's very rewarding to me, knowing that what I went through and what I've experienced wasn't just for me. You can utilize it and you can move forward as well.
Absolutely. So I love this part of the podcast where we get to kind of rewind the clocks a little bit because I
Oh,
love reflecting with folks about their journey and how they got started. So can you tell us a little bit about your family and your upbringing? What was that like for you?
So my family's from a teeny tiny town called Pageland, South Carolina. Like if you put your head down and you're driving on a family trip, you'll miss it. Um,
Uh-huh.
but it's a great place. My great grandmother was my best friend. So a lot of people will tell me that you have an old soul, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, when your best friend's 80 years old, some things, they just kind of stick with you. And so I consider myself very, very spoiled, very, very rich in that area, just being able to spend time with her and hear her experiences. And there's my mom, my dad, and then I have older siblings, but they, that age gap kind of creates that
Oh, for
that
sure.
space there.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's my baby brother. So we're a happy family. It's just we call ourselves the Connect Four because it's just like us for my mom, my dad, my brother, and I.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's just how it's been.
Wow. Uh, and not to harp on too much on this because I know about age gaps. I come from a family of uh, five other siblings, and the youngest brother is 11 years younger than I am. So I understand that gay age gap. Is it hard to relate to a younger sibling or an older sibling? Yeah, sorry. What is that dynamic like?
So my baby brother, he and I are 5 years apart. So we kind of get each other in a sense,
Okay.
since we grew up in the home together. And then my older siblings and I, there's about a 10 to 12 year gap there.
Whoa.
So I was kind of like, you're the annoying little sister, like get out, move. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? I have to see what's going on. Um, so it's still, it's just kind of weird. And I'm like, okay, well, they're grown, and I had to play by myself until my brother came along, which is
Oh,
kind of why I ended up being my grandmother. Because I mean, grandparents, they'll do anything for their
for
grandchildren.
sure.
Um, so that's kind of how that came about.
Well, I can definitely relate to you. I can tell you that my younger brother, he either frustrates me or he'll annoy me. But with my brothers that are closer in age, I feel like, so I'm the oldest in my family. And I
Okay,
always find like that it's easier to talk to siblings that are like at least two, three, maybe five. 5 years is like the max of like,
that's
okay, I can
it.
I can talk to you. But any younger than that, and this is definitely me and my youngest brother, where there's some tension and there's like, bro, I'm just trying to get through you. So I'm not sure if that's how you feel with sometimes.
Yeah, it's like that. Like you said, that 5 years, that's pushing it. Okay, like that's the absolute max. I feel like after that, it's kind of like, what do you?
Can you tell us a little bit more about your family dynamic? What is it like being in that family, and what is your experience and what did you enjoy most?
I think I just enjoyed our. So my dad's a comedian, and so
Really?
Yes, he makes everything a joke. And so many people are like, how do you live with this man? And now that I think about it, I'm like, I don't know. But growing up, it's just we always had a great bond, and I know that we could just laugh about anything. And so I feel like I inherited that from my parents, knowing how to just overcome anything, knowing how to laugh through the pain sometimes, and being able to just have a family that's supporting you, whether they know about it or not, which is, where
Mm-hmm.
skill comes in at. Like, I'm the first in my family to have any degrees. And
Oh
so
yeah.
they're kind of like, oh, well, we're excited about what you're doing. We don't know what you're doing, but if there's any way that we can help, let us help. And I'm kind of like, this isn't your realm of things. I thank you for the
Mm-hmm.
support, but just
Mm-hmm.
having them be supportive was something that, kind of shaped me into the person I am today. And so I am thankful for that.
That is wonderful. How would your family describe you?
I'd say they'd probably describe me as the family manager.
The family manager.
I'm the family manager because I like it needs to be like this. What are you doing, mom? Where are you at, dad?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why are you late? So they'd probably describe me as that. But I know my dad, he always tells me all the time, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, people see me in the store and they're like, wow, your baby girl's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, that's my girl. And I'm like, okay, calm down. But I'd say they'd say that they're proud of me and they're just excited to see, what's happening in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am the first in my family to move away, and I'm the first to. My mom's never flown. She's afraid to fly. Um,
Oh,
so anywhere, if my dad's going anywhere for a comedy show, they'll drive hours upon hours, and
wow.
so I think they live through me a lot. So I try to take a lot of pictures, and I try to ensure that I'm smiling and just being authentic and sharing that joy that I know the Cook family has from anywhere around the world.
Absolutely. And if I'm not prying too much, if I ask this question, you could feel free to say, Juan, you're prying too much. Is your dad a well-known comedian or more of a local comedian?
He's more of a he has a specific niche, so he's more of a Christian comedian.
Ah, I
But
see.
he's very well known, like in the North, South. I'd say from like South Carolina down over, like he's very well known. He's getting older now, so he doesn't do as much, but
Mm.
he's still very, very active, and he's making people smile each and every day.
Well, that's awesome. I think the positive vibrations go through you, and it clearly shows that your family's very, very loving and
Thank
very
you.
together. So that's awesome. Um, what is your earliest memory of school, and what was your impression of it?
Um, I think back to, like, honestly, I have a memory of like kindergarten. And there was this girl that used to come to class and she would cry every day, and her mom would just stand at the door every day. And
Yeah.
so I was thinking, like, am I having the wrong emotion? Should I be crying, like, to get
Mm.
out of here? But
Hmm.
I was the absolute opposite. Like, I would cry if I couldn't find my shoes to get ready for the bus. Like, I would just freak out, and I'm like, I
Wow.
have, I have to be there. I have to be there. And so I remember like crying, missing school. Like, oh my gosh, I'm sick. I can't go. Like, what is my teacher gonna think about me? She's gonna be so worried.
Oh no.
But I don't know. I think I really enjoyed school growing up. I'm a bit of a nerd. I'm one of those people that's like, did you know? I'm a did you know type of friend.
Did you know?
Like, why do you know that? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know why I know that, but now you know too. So
I'm gonna be honest with you. Those were my favorite people growing up in high school. Like, if they interrupted and said, "Did you know?" I'm like, "Oh, tangent. This is awesome. I love knowing new things."
we would have been best friends because I would have, like, hey, did you know? Fun fact for today.
That is awesome. Um, how would you describe yourself as a student during that time?
Um, I'd say I was a sponge. Like, I'm a lifelong learner. Even now to today, like, there's my goal by the time that I'm 35 is to start learning Mandarin.
Hmm.
As I mentioned earlier, like I do speak Spanish. I'd say I'm about 70% fluent. I've been down to South America, and I'm that friend like, hey, can you tell them how do we get to the bus? And I'm like,
Ah.
un minuto, please, And so I'm that person. I'm trying to learn German now, which is very aggressive, by the way.
I
Um,
hear it's a very hard language to learn, especially with how just enunciated things are.
yes, and now I'll repeat something like 7 or 8 times, and I still don't get it. And so I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm giving myself grace though, because I'm like, I am trying to learn this later in life. But I've always just been a sponge. Like, I want to know as much about what you're telling me as possible because you never know when you're going to need it. So I kind of just keep it in the arsenal, like in my brain. And or if someone's talking about something, I'm like, this sounds oddly familiar. And I'm thinking to myself, when I get in the car, I'm going to put this in Google and I'm going to find out more about it. So
Hmm.
that's been me from very early on until now.
It's very evident and apparent because it's still following you now, and that you're learning to love new languages, which is astounding to me. Like I can speak Spanish
Mhm.
okay-ish. I'm like forgetting some languages, or sorry, some of my words, but learning French, like I'm picking up here and there. But that's amazing and astounding that you're like able to pick up new language and still practice that. So amazing and kudos for you.
Thank you. My goal, my actual goal with my motivational speaking is to be a polyglot, so I could go to these different countries and speak on my own and say what it is that I want to say so people can hear me from my heart. And not saying like if I were to hire a translator, tell everyone everything's going to be okay, that it wouldn't be as effective. But I feel like I can put the passion and the emotion behind it that I'd like to display. So that's one of the main like driving factors of me learning these languages and not being afraid to immerse myself in other cultures.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Are you seeking guidance to enhance your TRIO project's effectiveness and success? Look no further. Nosotros Education Center, NEC, is here to empower your TRIO project with expert consulting services. NEC's mission is to promote the effectiveness and impact of TRIO programs. Since 2003, NEC has specialized in providing professional development and in-service staff trainings, allowable cost services, for TRIO projects across the country. The team at NEC, with over 60 years of combined TRIO experience, offers customized workshops and seminars for project staff, compliance assessments, external evaluations, working on and submitting APRs, database customization and training, development of policies and procedures manuals, and project implementation or reorganization services. Additionally, NEC has secured over $774 million in federal funding with a 92% success rate through their live and on-demand proposal workshops, assistance with data collection and review, detailed technical reviews, and comprehensive proposal development services. Join the hundreds of colleges, agencies, and TRIO projects across the country who benefited from NEC's expertise. Nosotros Education Center, your partner in TRIO's project success. Visit their website at nosotros.edu.org. Again, that's nosotrosedu.org.
And now, back to the podcast. Did you have any favorite subjects? Was it language?
Surprisingly, it wasn't. It was actually history. Like I love.
Oh, history.
Yeah,
Wow.
I love history. I don't know why. It's just like this happened. Wait, this really went down.
Hmm.
I know in about a couple of weeks or so. Since I moved to Texas about 2.5 years ago. And I know the big thing here is like the Alamo. So I'm going to San Antonio to see, like, I want to see the church. I want to see everything.
Right.
I want to take the tours. I want to feel it. So history is like my subject. Even now, from time to time, I'll pop on a history podcast and see what I can find because I love hearing different people's takes on it.
Hmm.
Obviously, none of us were there, but I want to see, how they feel and if there's anything further that they can display, about that time or era.
I find that history is a very interesting subject. So I majored in history in my bachelor's,
Oh,
and yeah, and I find that fascinating that as much as we study it, there's still different interpretations of what we come away with, right? There's like this, and I hate to word it this way, but there's like this accepted version of history that folks teach in various universities or even high school, but then there's
mhm.
these versions of history that are not being taught, right? So you
Yeah,
are absolutely right. Like we need to be able to have a full scope of history and really understand that there
for
are
sure.
different versions
And
of the
it's
same
like
account.
you said, you're learning new stuff every day. And I think like if I'm on TikTok and they're like, "Oh, did you know?" And I'm like, "I had no idea this was going
Same.
on at the same time that was going on." And so
Hmm.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, wow, it's really mind blowing.
Really, I totally agree. Did you join any extracurricular activities while in middle school before high school?
In middle school, fun fact, I don't think I've ever said this out loud, except for only the people that know.
Oh, here we
I was
go.
a mascot.
You were a mascot.
I
Okay,
was.
what were you? What were you?
I was a Mustang. Go South, go SMS. I was a Mustang. When I wasn't in the suit, I would cheer with the girls. So it was fun. My mom was upset because I'd get my hair done, and then of
Uh,
course, quit like a madman. So I go to school with all these beautiful curls, and then I come look
yeah.
at James Brown after a concert.
Oh.
But it was truly an experience, and honestly, if I'm being honest, like at that point I was like, wow, I should probably be the college mascot. And I'm like, now that I think back on it, I was in way too deep. Oh
I
no.
love it. I love it. How did you and your family prepare for your entry into high school? So there's that period of transition, right, after middle school where you're mentally preparing for high school. So how did you get ready for it?
I feel like my mom and my dad were like, are you ready? This is like the next big step. You don't go to any more schools after you go to this, because after high school, it's like the real world. And I'm like,
Mm,
oh, I'm gonna have to get a job. I think that's
hmm
what I was thinking about. But
Yeah.
I guess they were just kind of encouraging me to just be myself. My mom was saying, like high school is a time where you don't know. You kind of like peer pressure. You don't know what's gonna happen. People change, things change. And so they were kind of just giving me the speech of kind of just staying true to who I am, staying true to my beliefs, and ensuring like, don't be a follower. It's okay to say no. It's okay not to go where the crowd is going. You'll be fine. And you don't want to hear that. It's like, and of course the parents use the analogy, if your friends jump, are you gonna jump too? Well,
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, it all depends how high it is. Not
Like if
gonna,
it's not fatal.
but then I might jump. But if it is, I'll use common sense. But I don't know. It was a good time, and I feel like my family was
Cool.
happy. So I was the first child, like my mom and my dad, like in that family hierarchy. So my older siblings are my dad's children prior to my mom, and so
Mm-hmm.
I was my mom's family's, like I was the first niece, I was the first grandchild, I was the first great
Oh
grandchild.
wow. Yeah, yeah.
So everyone was just like, "Wow, this is a big moment." So everyone was kind of just preparing me to get ready to embark on that journey. And boy, it was a journey, but I I made it through.
That's awesome. Did any of your extracurricular activities carry over? So did being a mascot carry over into high school?
No, so I wanted to cheer in high school, but I had
Uh-huh.
to. I didn't get to live out that dream. I had to have knee surgery in high school,
Oh
so
no.
I was like, well, no more being in a suit for me. But
Yeah.
I think I just kind of gave it up, and I started leaning more from like hands-on extracurricular activities to more like academic extracurricular activities.
So academic, okay.
Yeah, so I did do a lot of things there, but not like, nothing as fun and as sweaty as being a mascot.
Awesome. Can you talk about your experience in high school then? What was that experience like for you?
I feel like high school for me was just, I felt just like a normal girl.
Hmm
And I didn't know what it was. I wasn't trying to lean too much into this crowd or lean too much into that crowd. I feel like I maybe had this fear of just losing myself.
Hmm.
So in order to avoid that, I kind of just stayed in my own lane. And
hmm
that kind of just made way for myself. I feel like I was very social with everyone in high school though, because I hung out with the kids that were cool, and I hung out with the kids that were not so cool. I was president of the chess club. I was part of like the Civitan community. I was uh, I was in the yearbook staff. I did academic challenge. I
hmm
was president one year of Future Business Leaders of America.
Oh wow.
So I
Wow.
was very diverse, and sticking in very various groups throughout high school. Um, I don't know. I feel like I was able to be myself, in high school, no matter what it looked like. Because sometimes
hmm
you get ridiculed for being yourself. But I stood true to who I was, and yeah, I'm still sticking to it today.
Absolutely. And it sounds like with all these academic leaning courses, or sorry, extracurricular activities, that you had more of a college track in
Mhm.
mind, that post-secondary education was in your
Mhm.
future. At what point did you begin thinking about college?
I feel like college. So the neighborhood that I grew up in, I haven't always been, statistically speaking, I'm not supposed to be where I am today, if I'm
Hmm
being candid. I grew up in like I guess for lack of better terms, you'd call it like the projects. But there were many programs that they had to help students. And one of those programs after school worked with like the college sororities and fraternities. And that was something that piqued my interest. And I'm like, okay, if I want to join this, I have to go to college. So I'm thinking about joining college now for the wrong reasons.
Like I want to be in that sorority fraternity.
Think I want to do that thing. But not knowing that, there was a lot that was going to be required just to even join college. So I feel like my thoughts toward college started very early on. And of course, being in the yearbook staff, being on academic challenge, there were, the kids that were upper level kids. And so they were already taking college tours. They were talking about things like, oh, when we get accepted this fall, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that. And I'm like, did you say party? Did you say that? So that was kind of like making my antennas like,
Sure thing.
I want to hear more about that. And so that's kind of what pushed me to start looking at different things. And I kind of always knew that I wanted, there was more after high school. And I just didn't want to continue the cycle that, I'd seen, in my own life, in my own circle, in my own family. And I'm like, if you want different, you have to do different.
True. So true. And this is kind of a two-part question because now I'm thinking about like for a lot of first generation students, they struggle to kind of find that path. Like once they identify college, they're not quite sure how to get there. It's just like, I know it's there. I just don't know how to get there. Who did you speak with about your thoughts to go to college? And did they provide a guidance or a type of mentorship to get there?
So I had an amazing guidance counselor. Her name was Miss Jackie Hicks. And so she was always very encouraging. And so she'd be like, Khadijah, you can do anything you want to do in this world, but first you're going to need to do this. And she was always pointing like college. You need to go here. I don't care if it's community college. I don't care if it's trade school. Like you need to do something better. So I will say that Lancaster High School did a great job of giving us that resource and pointing us and, encouraging us to want more for ourselves. And thankfully I had the guidance counselor that I had that was, on that same wave and kind of pushing me to do the same thing and letting me know, hey, you have this resource, you can maybe able to take the SAT or the ACT for free if you fill out this or do that. So, yeah, she guided me a lot.
That's awesome. Did you have a list of colleges that you potentially wanted to attend?
I did. At one point, I was like so bent on Florida State University. I was also like really, really bent on Converse College, which is an women's college in Spartanburg.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it just kind of like really stuck out to me. And then, of course, USC was like always on the list. So the University of South Carolina, Lancaster is in Lancaster, South Carolina, which is where I live. So I kind of like in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is my safety school. Like I'll go there. But that was definitely one of the things. And I also thought about like maybe like USC Berkeley, but I'm like, that's far. And then of course it started getting real because there's a thing from in-state and out-of-state tuition.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The fear of your parents, like, oh, you're 1,000 miles away. So that was a whole thing too.
Yeah, that's totally understandable, right? As a high school student thinking about the potential colleges, you really don't factor in the distance from home. You're just kind of thinking about like, oh, I could really see myself in that college.
For sure.
Can you share a little bit about your highlights of high school? What did you enjoy the most? What are some things that you really loved about high school? Yeah.
I think this is gonna sound crazy. I really, 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 really was someone who enjoyed reading. And I think one of the highlights of high school, I really enjoyed my librarians because they'd get new books in and they'd be like, Khadijah, when you come back for lunch this afternoon, we got something for you. That was a highlight. That was a highlight for me.
That's awesome.
There were some pretty great teachers that I had. I made some pretty lifelong friends that I still may chat with from time to time now, but life happens. And I feel like that was a highlight. I was also like exposed to just different, like I was saying, those different organizations and being pushed to dream more and to want more. And some of the people I met, some pretty extraordinary people, who went on to do pretty, pretty great things. There's like 2 or 3. No, I know there's one lawyer that was in my class. She's a lawyer now. There's another lady she just got her doctorate and she's doing something major, doing different research.
Wow.
Business owners. So I feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you share your senior year experience? What was that like for you?
I feel like my senior experience was kind of weird. So I had to have knee surgery my 11th grade year. So
Hmm.
I out like majority of second semester, and I came back 5 days before prom, which was 5 days before my birthday. So prom was on my
Oh,
birthday for the 11th grade year. And I did a
uh-huh.
lot of work at home, so I kind of got ahead my senior year. Um, but it was a good experience. It was like I don't know which word to use, but it was kind of like I was happy that it was the end of school, but it was
Hmm.
kind of like that daunting feeling of like not knowing what's next. Like
Oh,
after the bell rings in May and you guys walk across the stage, there's no more school bus coming to pick you up. There's no more meeting in the cafeteria. It's like you
that's
have
it.
to, like that's it. And so I think that kind of like I had that feeling my whole senior year, more so the second semester than the first semester. And
Hmm.
it's like I don't want to mess life up. You
Mm.
know, high school, it's okay. Your parents are there for you. They're gonna tell you that it's okay. There's other adults, but it's
Hmm.
like when you decide to do what it is that you're gonna do, whether you're going to the military, whether you're going to college, whether you're joining the workforce, you have to pretty much do it on your own. So I think there was a fear there, a nervousness of the next. I'd say a nervousness of the unknown.
Mm. So here's the next question then to reflect with you. Describe the moment you graduated from high school. What was that moment like for you, and what was it like for your family?
For me, I just remember looking at the guy that was beside me and like we just stared at each other. And I think it was one of those moments like, wow, I'm never going to see this man again, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's just kind of how I felt about everybody. I'm like, we're never going to be
This
at the
is it.
same
Yeah.
place in time again.
Hmm.
So I was kind of just like, I felt accomplished because I'm like, I made it through all 12 years successfully. When I shake this man's hand and I walk around, they're going to give me a diploma and it's going to say my name on it. So I was very proud of that. Um,
Hmm.
both of my parents didn't graduate from high school, either in a traditional sense. So they felt a sense of pride there. They felt the sense of like, wow, our baby girl did it. And then I felt good to be an older sibling, showing my little brother, like, you could do it too. Like, I have mine. It's all on the counter by itself now, but there's room for yours too. So I think it was a big moment for my family. And I think they were excited about the next steps because obviously at this point now we know that I'm going to college. We're pumped and we're feeling good. But still like happy but nervous, but
Sure
we're
thing.
accepting and taking it one day at a time.
Absolutely. And I feel like being a trailblazer definitely gave you a lot of pride because
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you did it, that you made it, now you've set the path for the younger sibling, that's an amazing feeling. That's
It is
wonderful.
for sure.
I have a question for you. So, what preparations, because so your first school experience was the University of South Carolina in Lancaster.
Mhm.
What preparations did you do to prepare to enter that college space?
So I originally I was not trying to go to Lancaster at all. Um,
Really?
it just was not like I knew it was in my backyard. I just knew
Uh-huh.
it was there. I'm like, if all things fail and everything hits the fan, okay, then it's USCL.
For
So it
sure.
wasn't on the forefront of my mind. But my mom was like, I don't feel comfortable with you going here. I don't feel comfortable with, although I had gotten accepted out all these other schools, she just only felt comfortable with me going to UST Lancaster. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I have to do here, and I'm gonna transfer. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna go to Kansas. I'm gonna go, just thinking of,
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah.
But as it started to get real, I'm like, you know what? I need to take myself more serious. I started getting into a routine. I'm like, I don't want to lose my routine over the summer, because we're used to getting up at a certain time. And then when summer comes, you stay up all night, eat snacks, it's 3 a.m., and you wake up at 1 o'clock looking around. So
Absolutely.
I'm like, I want to stay prepared. I continue to read throughout the summer. I continue to keep my mind sharp and just doing different things because I'm like, I don't know what to expect. I'm going to another level. It's not going to be the same type of academia it was, in high school. So
Hmm.
I just tried to prepare myself as much as I could with what I knew. And that's kind of where I think this kind of leads into the next question. I got accepted into the early start program for Trio. I
Oh, yeah.
got this notification in the mail, and it's like, you've been selected to start college early. And I'm like, me? Is it because I was reading this summer?
That's
Very
one of the
sarcastic.
reasons why. Definitely.
like, oh, this is great. And so that's kind of how I got introduced to Trio that summer, getting that postage in the mail, filling it out, and getting started with Early Start.
Wow. So Trio, your introduction to Trio was literally a letter that says you've been selected to start college early. Did that mean summer classes?
Yes. So like they have a program. It's literally called Early Start, and it's like the last couple of weeks in July, and you go to school for about 3 weeks or so, Monday through Friday. They have college professors teaching a few classes, and you're able to get college credits for doing that. And they just kind of give us tips and tricks on how to navigate and maneuver throughout college, and letting us know that we have them as a resource. And we're able to get very familiar with each and every one on the campus, the buildings, the resources that we had. They made us really feel welcome, and letting us know, like, you're the first to do it, but you're not alone.
Awesome. That's
And
awesome.
so it felt really, really good to know that someone was holding my hand. And I'm thankful for them holding my hand, because I wouldn't ever admit this out loud, but I was shaking in my boots. Like,
But you're not alone in that, right? A lot of first generation students starting their first semester, whether it's the summer or the fall, they are very nervous and unsure about what to expect. And I feel like a lot of TRIO programs do a good job in helping you transition into, or even kind of quelling some of those fears or insecurities. Which I'm glad you answered the TRIO question already. I'm not going to ask you again. So I'm going to move on to the next one, is like, talk about that experience and share some highlights about attending the University of South Carolina in Lancaster. What did it mean to you? And like, what assistance, what support did you get?
firstly, they gave me a sense of belonging. Everyone that was in our trio group, like, that came in for that summer program, it's like we had a sense of like a little family. We had our like little jokes and stuff going, because we were just feeling comfortable. And so I felt happy to know that, I had a great director. Her name was Miss Bailey. Bless her soul, she passed away. She was like getting on us every time she could, like, you guys have to do this, you have to do it for your family, you have to keep going, like, when things get hard, I'm here for you guys. And the great staff at USC Lancaster, like, let us know, like, you guys are not alone. If you have a test and you aren't feeling great about it, come talk to us. Let us help you study. We may know sometimes the professor would be in the trio lounge talking to them. So it's like, you need extra help, let us help you get that extra help. Let us help you, show you these tutoring things and doing these things. And so it just gave a great sense of community. They stayed very active with having great speakers that came in. We had different luncheons. We were doing different things to get a sense of what was out there. So we knew that we had options. So that's one thing that I could really, really, really appreciate about the program. They gave us options. Most of the time as a child, your mom's like, this is what I'm cooking. This is what you're eating.
Yeah, you settle. You're not that you're settling, but like, this is what we're doing, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. But USC Lancaster was like, you know what? Here's some ribs. Here's potatoes. Here's this. Maybe you don't want ribs. Maybe you don't eat meat. Here you go. And that just didn't go for like literal food. That went for like us having a job or us taking a class. If you look at this class, did you know you can substitute it out for that? So I think it was great to be in a space and to be a part of a community that actually cared. Each and every, director, each and every assistant, each and every staff member really went above and beyond to let us know that we belonged. And they let us know if there was anything that we were up against, that we could always overcome it, and you didn't have to overcome it by yourself.
So you started off at University of South Carolina, Lancaster for your associates.
So I
But
got
then,
2 associate's degrees from there.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was the plan always to move on to upstate for your bachelor's? Like, did you work that in, or were you planning to stay in Lancaster to finish a bachelor's? Yeah. How did that work out?
So I honestly, upstate was not on my mind. I was thinking about transferring to South Carolina State. I was thinking about transferring to the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. They have a great hospitality program. I thought about going to like the main USC campus, which is located in Columbia, South Carolina. I just really didn't know. And then I ended up going on a visit with one of my friends at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like USC Upstate was like, as the kids say today, it was lit. It was lit. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna love it here. Like, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was maybe about 7 or 8 of us that transferred from the University of Lancaster to Upstate. So it's like you still had that sense of community. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
when we got there, we kind of like separated because we had our own majors. Some of us stayed on campus, some of us stayed off campus, but it still gave us the opportunity to know, like, I'm here for you if you need me. Like, I came from Lancaster with you. Like, we're a part of this. We still got this together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was great. So upstate wasn't originally in my plans, but I'm thankful that I went there. I have met some amazing people that I still talk to. I actually live with the person that
Oh,
met at upstate. Like, we're best friends, and like we
yeah.
moved to Texas together. So it it really sparked something great.
That's awesome. Did Trio provide any assistance in that move or in that realization that you would want to move on to a different institution?
They did. They gave us it's kind of like they gave us a okay. Like, it's okay for you to keep going. It's okay for you to move. Like, take what you learned
Mm-hmm.
here, but
Mm-hmm.
spread your wings and fly. And so I'm thankful that they instilled that in us to be who we needed to be, and what we needed to be in any capacity. And that I just took that with me to upstate, and of course throughout life.
Was there another Trio program waiting for you at Upstate?
There was another, and I know this is gonna sound crazy. There was another trio program
Uh-huh.
at Upstate, but I didn't join. I just didn't think that I'd get the same like home feeling that I got from USCL, and I know that's probably not necessarily the case, but I just didn't. USCL really did it for me.
I gotcha. No, I totally understand. Um, in that kind of same vein of the question, can you talk a little bit about your time in Trio while at USC Lancaster? Can you give us some highlights? What did you enjoy the most in that program?
We had a lot of different subsidiary programs in there. We had one, so the director, she was a part of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority.
Mm-hmm.
Started like a subsidiary group called the Delta Links, which was for all the young ladies. And her husband, Mr. Bailey, was a part of the Omega Sci-Fi
Mm.
fraternity, and so he started the OSP, like the Opportunity Scholars. And so I was able to be the president of the Delta Links for about 2 years. And so it just kind of gave me that sense of learning how to put things together, learning how to be a resource to people, because people would come and ask, like, hey, since you're the president of this, what does this mean? What does that mean? And
Mm.
so it kind of prepared me to be in positions of power,
Wow.
which helped me, in my career. I've been a manager. So majority of college I worked at Krispy Kreme. And I first became a manager there, and then I went on to get in a real adult corporate job, and I've been a manager in those settings as well. But being in that position in Trio, helped me learn how to stay organized. It taught me how to be able to communicate with people and learn how to respond in a professional and in a profound way. So that time there, it really showed me a lot that I wouldn't have been able to learn on my own. And knowing where I'm supposed to be statistically, I'm not supposed to be where I am today. Having the degrees that I have, being able to speak multiple languages, being able to just carry myself a certain way. And I can give a lot of that to Trio because they exposed us to so much at such a young age, and they weren't afraid to bring different people in from different lifestyles, to let us know what was possible.
When you reflect on the moments, and sorry, this is kind of going off script a little bit, but
No
because
worries.
the theme that keeps coming up and I'm hearing you say is like this defying the odds,
Mm-hmm.
statistics, right? I remember when a principal from middle school looked at me and my brothers and sisters said, "There's going to be only half of you that graduate from high school." Now,
Oh,
granted, right? Like you that I took the initiative. I'm like, I'm going to make sure my siblings we all graduated from high school, right?
yes.
Facing those defying statistics or defying those statistics, that must have been daunting at first to see the statistics and then
Mm-hmm.
to really reflect and say, I'm gonna move past all of this and
Mm-hmm.
go beyond what's expected out of me. How does that land for you?
I mean, I feel like now, since I'm on the other side of it, it gives you a sense of pride. It lets you know that you could do anything, no matter what people say, no matter what the numbers look like, no matter what the odds look like. I really feel like if you shift your mindset to the more, you're gonna fall somewhere. People say if you shoot for the stars, I mean, shoot for the moon, you land against the stars type thing.
Yeah.
And kind of what that was. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be, a high school dropout. I don't want to be someone that started and didn't finish. I don't want to be that. I want to do what I said I was gonna do. And so that just kind of gave me that motivation and kind of pushed me to keep going and to have an amazing program like Trio backing you. That's like, yeah, you got this. Keep pushing, keep going. You fail and you drop this, no worries. We're gonna help you pick it up together, and we're gonna say, you know what, you may have failed this class. It's not the end of the world. Here's an option. Maybe take it over the summer, do this and do that. So it just gave me a sense of pride to know that I don't have to be a statistic. I don't have to be what society has already labeled me to be based on the color of my skin, or based on my parents' income, or based on whatever people judge you on. You have options, and so that's just a very like empowering feeling.
Absolutely. During your time in college, were you thinking about landing a particular type of career? Were you thinking like, I'm going to be like you managed previous chains? So were you like, I'm going to be a manager, or I'm going to own a chain of myself?
you know Funny story. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna work at Krispy Kreme. I'm gonna buy one. Then you start doing research and you see it's just not $100. More like 100 million.
Oh my God.
But I always just wanted to drive a big Mercedes, and
Mm,
I wanted to own hotels. I'm
mm,
fascinated with hotels. I don't know why.
hmm
Um, I
hmm
never worked in the hotel industry to this day. Like I know nothing about the hospitality in like field on my own. But that's just what I wanted to do. But I just knew I wanted to be a businesswoman. I wanted to drive
hmm
a big Mercedes, and I just wanted to be happy. And so I I don't think there was nothing I've ever said that I wanted to particularly do aside from that and own a Krispy Kreme.
By the by, that's like my favorite donut is Krispy Kreme. We have one here in Fort Collins that we just got, and like
Oh,
once a month I take the kids. I'm like, it's dangerous because it's right up the street, guys, but we go once a month
oh yeah,
to
you have to. Do you guys go
yeah,
when the hot
yeah.
is on?
Well, with the next question, I really want to think about like the differences between campus because you touched a little bit on it about
Mhm.
how you felt there was a community of support in one campus, and then
Mhm.
the other campus, it felt like it provided a lot of energy and vibes to you. Can you tell
Mhm.
us what is the difference between Lancaster and Upstate?
Well,
What, yeah.
USC Lancaster is more. It is more that it's a smaller community. It's like everyone knows everyone. It's not. It's like everything's pretty much in close proximity. It's like you can walk out of one building and you see your friend walking out another. It's like hey. It's like hey. I'll see you at 11. See you at 11. And that's just kind of what it gave because Lancaster is a small town. It's the only like university there. And then where opposed to Spartanburg is called like a college town. There's 7 colleges in Spartanburg. There's the University
Mm.
of South Carolina, upstate there, and there's Wofford there, there's Converse College there,
Oh,
and
wow.
there's a few others that I can't, name off the top of my head. And then not too far from USC upstate in Anderson, South Carolina, there's a Clemson College, Clemson, the
Oh, wow.
University.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Clemson. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of like there are a lot of college students there. So I mean, I feel like Spartanburg had to definitely bring the vibes. I mean, there's 7
For
colleges.
sure.
Clemson's not that far. There's a ton of colleges few and far between. So
Yeah.
um Spartanburg definitely had a community too. But I feel like so I with me having my degrees in business, the business school was downtown. So I feel like the business students had their own community and the way we went about doing things. And it just gave us a different experience than it did to the students that were on campus. But I enjoyed every bit of it. I really did. I enjoyed getting my feet wet with exploring a new city. I enjoyed, different businesses and business owners and businesses that would come to our school and speak. So
hmm
it kind of gave us that sense of the outside world from the inside and kind of just, exposed us in that area too. But they were both great. I'd advise if someone would go to either or, I'd advise them to. They're both amazing schools. The faculty and staff are amazing at both campuses, and they're going to do exactly what it is that they came to do. They're going to teach you, and they're going to push you, and they're going to mold you, and they're going to shape you, and they're going to do what they can to get you across that stage with that degree in your hand.
I love that. The passion for helping students to create the path to college
Mm-hmm.
graduation, which is always outstanding, especially among the trio programs. Can you talk a little bit more about your time with USC Upstate? What did you enjoy the most there at Spartanburg? What is it about the campus that you just absolutely loved?
I think I enjoyed. I really did enjoy being downtown. It gave me a sense like I was going, like I was about my business. I got to go downtown to go to school. I'm going to the business school. And then like outside of the school, they had like the ticker numbers that would run around from the stock
Oh, from
market.
the start. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Made it
like,
feel official, I bet.
you did. I'm like, do I need to have a suit on to enter? I feel home coming to class in my sweatpants.
I love that.
But it was great though. I think about just being able to meet new people, and college really opened the door for me to meet some of my closest friends. It opened the door for me to just learn more about myself, about life. You really don't know what you don't know. But when you meet people from different walks of life and they have different families and different backgrounds, you just never know what you're going to learn. And so I was
So true.
thankful to be in those spaces, to learn about finances, or to be able to learn about family dynamics, or to be able to learn, how to make a new recipe, or how to, say a new word in a new language, or so it just really opened me up to things that I didn't even know were possible.
Absolutely. Can you reflect with me a little bit about how, in what ways, or even what did you carry over from Trio into Upstate? What did you learn from the Trio program that you were able to implement immediately into your bachelor's setting?
I think that what I learned there is just get out there. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself. Trio was a place for me to just show up as my authentic self. And that kind of just showed me to be able to do that in all spaces, no matter who you are or where you are. You don't have to, oftentimes we'll get into places and we don't feel like we're qualified enough, or that we should be there. So we'll water ourselves down. You may know the answer, but you
Totally.
don't want to raise your hand because you don't want to come off as a smarty pants, or,
For
you
sure.
know, you don't want to do this or you want to do that. But that Trio just really instilled in me to be you at all times. And no matter what it is or what you're going through, you're going to get through it. So I had some tough times when I was at Upstate, still being a first generation college student, still learning to work through things on my own. But I feel like Trio gave me that confidence, and they instilled that in us to let us know that we're not alone. Even my Trio program in USC Lancaster was like, if you need anything while you're at Upstate, we're here. And so I enjoyed the fact that they were well connected and they weren't afraid to jump in at any time.
That's wonderful. Can you talk about the moment you graduated from USC Upstate? What did that mean for you, and what did that mean for your family?
For me, I just remember feeling like I did it. Like I did it. It was such an amazing moment. I was sitting close to one of my closest friends at graduation, and we just kept looking at each other like smiling like, girl. What? Not thinking like 3 days ago we were crying our eyes out because like this accounting test was like literally getting to us.
Oh yeah. Oh my
We made it,
gosh.
to see those grades posted and to just know the feeling of like relief. I think that's really what it was. It was relief. And the same for my parents. They were just like so thrilled and so excited. They know all of the ups and downs that I had throughout college. Some of the classes that I may have to take over, or some areas like, hey, I'm not feeling too confident. Like, calculus isn't my strongest subject and I have a test tomorrow, like being on the phone with my mom. I'm just like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, crying is
Oh
not going to
no.
help. So I need to go. I need to study. But I made it through. And
Yeah.
so I think they also felt like a sense of pride, like, wow, like our daughter did this. And my brother was like, siblings, they talk junk to each other all the
Oh
time. Like,
yeah.
wow, your head just not big for nothing. I guess you're smart. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, but for like, why do families, specifically, you might know this, that Latino families kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
The younger siblings, especially, they'll dismiss anything with just one little word, like, now you think you're all that.
You think you grown now, or you think you balling? Like, I don't know. I feel like it just makes a rich family dynamic. You
For
can,
sure.
that's your way of saying
They
I'm
keep
proud
you
of you
humble.
and I love you, but you don't want to say that.
For sure. My brothers kept me humble. They really, I'm the first one in the family to graduate, and I remember graduating from college, but they were just like kind of giving me this like, okay, sure,
All
you
right,
did your thing. Okay, whatever.
not too much.
So they keep me humble. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Let me calm down. I think it's just a sibling thing, but it makes great for like great dynamics. I know my brother texts me now and he'll just like big head. That's just it's no hey. I'm just like, can I get a formal introduction?
Like, come on now.
But it's all love. It's all love.
Truly, truly. So, but hold on, Khadijah, because I got to call you out because you said you felt a lot of relief and a
I
lot of
did.
like release between getting your bachelor's degree, and then now you're preparing to enter an MBA program, a master's, which is infamously known to cause even more stress and tension. What was your time at Liberty University like?
Liberty had your girl stressed out. Like stressed all the way out. But in all honesty, like so my ultimate goal is like once I got to a certain level, I'm like, I want to be Dr. Khadijah
Okay,
Dee.
for sure.
Like
Yeah.
that's gonna sound good. Did someone say doctor? That
Yeah.
just like transformed my mind, but I'm like, oh crap, in order for me to be Dr. Khadijah, I have to get a master's.
That's the
And
sub step, right? Like that's the step up into yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so my best friend and I had been talking about it for a while. And when the pandemic struck, a lot of people were furloughed. A lot of people it
I
was just,
remember that time period. Yeah.
and so my best friend was like, you know what? I'm about to get my degree. And I was like, okay, do you? And so it started going well. And I was like, you know what? I need to quit playing. Like, I've
Mm.
been in schools for some time now. I need to go ahead and jump on the wagon. And so I feel like I had a sense of community when I started my master's because my best friend and I, we lived together. And so, he's working on his, I'm working on mine. So I wasn't alone in a sense. And then another one of our friends joined us. And so we kind of did it as like our own little trio. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
and we all
Very
made
cool.
it. He graduated before, like the year before I did. And then I came right behind him. But it was a stressful time, but it's well worth it. I feel like so official when I'm signing emails. I'm like Khadijah Dee Cook, comma MBA. Um,
That's awesome. I love that.
it's like a highlight. It's like the best thing ever. But
Yeah.
um, I was thankful to be in that space, to continue learning and to continue to be able to learn how business is conducted, not only here domestically in the United States, but all around the world. So I feel blessed and I feel good about it.
Absolutely. So I got to ask this so that way the audience understands the toughness of a master's program. What would you say was tougher, completing the associates, the bachelor's, or the master's?
I definitely say the masters, and only because like at this point I had incorporated real life stuff. I'm working a corporate job now. I have to come home, I have to make my own dinner, I have to
Mm.
do this. But
Hmm.
wait, the assignments still due at 11:59. So it was trying to juggle life, like real life as a person, and
Hmm.
also trying to juggle life academically, and making sure that I'm writing the papers, making sure everything's properly cited, but also making sure I'm going to bed at a decent time because in the morning at 8 a.m., my manager's going to ask for that report.
Oh, for sure.
So that was I think it was just the balancing everything. But it was totally, totally worth it.
That's awesome. Can you describe the moment you graduated for your master's? Now, I'm going to ask this specific question because it really pertains to you because going beyond the bachelor's, family is going to be proud of you no matter what, right? Now that you've completed the bachelor's, they're kind of expecting you to continue being successful. So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to really more personally ask this question to you. What did obtaining this master's degree mean to you?
It meant to me like it was kind of to show myself like you could really do this, like you really got this, like anything you put your mind to, you're really dedicated to this education thing, despite the fact that anybody before you, no one before you did it, they didn't even
Hmm.
take it this far. You not only did you get an associate's degree, two associate's degrees, you went and got a bachelor's degree, and not only did you get a bachelor's degree, you said, hey, let me get a master's degree. So I felt a sense of like, there's nothing in this world that I can't do. No matter how big, no matter how small. And I was just ultimately so proud of myself because there were times that I didn't think that I was going to make it just because there were so many things that were happening in my life personally.
Hmm.
Um, Still had to hold it down academically, still had to make sure that I had a certain GPA, still had to make sure that I was, getting certain grades. And so um I just really remember standing like on that stadium. It was super hot, by the way. I remember like melting.
Hmm.
But I earned that melt. I earned the opportunity, and I earned that to be able
Absolutely.
out there and feel that sense of the feeling, and just now being able to go back and speak to different trio programs around the nation and let other students know like you don't have to stop here. there's more out there. You can always obtain more. And, even if you get to the PhD level, you can still continue to grow and learn in any capacity. So I just try to encourage people to be a lifelong learner and never stop, never take no for an answer, and don't just stop. If there's more, you go for the more.
So life happened since graduating from high school all the way to you graduating with your master's. You currently work for eDesign Consulting as an instructional design project manager. Can you talk about that position and what does that mean to you?
That position to me is a very unique position. I enjoy being able to, create training programs for big corporations. I enjoy being able to help create curriculums for different universities. I just enjoy being able to be in the details. I didn't realize how much of a detailed person I was, but just being able to be a part of an amazing company and organization with our great leader, Dr. K. Green. It's just amazing to see how other people work and how hard they go. They go above and beyond to ensure that things are perfect. And I just never, experienced anything like that until I was able to join and be a part of this great company. But it's truly an amazing feeling.
What career and educational paths did you take to land to where you are now? So, like, what job shifts, what things did you have to do to get to where you are now?
I worked well, of course, as you know, I worked at Krispy Kreme, so I was in retail for a while, and that kind of helped with like my customer service skills, being able to like, multitask and different things like that. And then I shifted, like I got my first real like corporate job in the logistics industry, and there's so much there. It's so big, it's so wide, and there's things moving from all parts of the world, which was very interesting to see. Honestly, we only see it as a consumer. You see the things when it's on the shelf. You don't see where it comes from. You don't know that the pair of pants that you're wearing, they came from Madagascar, or the drink that you're drinking, the sugar that they use specifically came from Germany. It's just amazing to see how everything um, comes together. But I I don't know. I feel like where I am now, like I've gotten a few certifications and different things to help me to be able to understand. And being a consultant, I was originally there just for my project management, but I was able to pick up a new skill, which is that instructional design, and
Hmm.
kind of
Hmm.
see how everything comes together. So it's been amazing. I do plan to get more certifications in the instructional design field, because I want to be better at it. And I want to continue to work with these amazing companies and universities around the world.
What do you enjoy most about this current position?
I think I enjoy the flexibility. I think the older you get and you kind of just want to do what you want to do,
You're right. Yeah.
when you want to do it.
I
I
know it.
I enjoy that for sure. And
Yeah.
I think I enjoy the opportunity of just learning new things
Hmm.
along the way. When you're creating these trainings for these companies and you're creating this curriculum for these different universities, the different terminologies, the different jargon that you learn based in that field, it's like you would have never known what that was if you didn't, position yourself to be there. So I'm just thankful for that within this field.
That's awesome. So, Dee, I'm going to ask this next question more
Hmm.
to, I'm going to change it up a little bit. You
Okay.
currently are a speaker, so you go out and speak to trio programs. Can you
Yeah.
tell us how did that evolve for you, and how can people get in touch with you if they want you to be a speaker for them in their trio program?
It kind of evolved. It started with USC Lancaster.
Nice.
Kind of just went from there, and I've spoken at several universities and colleges in South Carolina and Texas. I'm working with a few right now in Virginia, and I'm reaching out to different states to be able to speak with other programs and students now. But if they want to reach me, I'm on LinkedIn as D Cook, and then if there's somewhere in the show notes, I can put my email or
Oh, for
anything.
sure. Yeah. Give us
Feel
your
free.
information. We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, for sure. I'll give you that. And you can always go there and just send me an email, send me a DM. And I'd love the opportunity to host and speak and do any workshops or anything that they have available to let me share my trio experience.
Kadaji, what is this? What is something that you like a main topic or a theme that you cover in your speaking engagements?
The power of you, because all of us have a power, and sometimes we don't know that we have that power because we are the first to do it. But I just try to let people know, like, there's power in the way that you move. There's power in the way that you go about, how you handle your day. And if you want something, don't be afraid to do it. You're the only one that can get you to where it is that you desire to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of talk about us thinking about it, because we'll think negatively sometimes, like, oh, I'm not smart enough to get that position, or I'm not, talented enough or educated enough to move that way. But yes, you can, take the proper steps, break it down, get yourself a strategy plan, go one step at a time. Rome isn't built all in one day. It's built brick by brick. So if I can show you how to start putting a brick here to put a brick there, next thing you know, you have yourself a set of stairs.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love the foundation that you're building here, because not only does it go over strategy and practical methods on how to get to your goal, but also you're injecting positivity and a positive message that goes along with strategy, which I find that's often missing in a lot of speaker circuits. That someone like you is not only speaking positively, but also having these practical methods and approaches to get to where you want to be.
Absolutely. Thank you. I try to be logical, and I always ask myself, what would I have liked for someone to tell me when I was in the position that they're in? And so that's where I try to come from. And now that I've gotten a little older and I've lived a life a little more, I want to be able to, express that, that journey that I've been on, and let you know, hey, you don't have to do it alone, or hey, you don't have to do it that way. Hey, this is where I messed up. Don't go that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Can you give us your contact information on this part of the show, just so the folks, if they miss it on the show notes, they have it here on the podcast and they're listening to it?
Absolutely. So I can be found on Facebook as Khadijah Dee, and that's KhadijahDee. Sorry, my mom got a little happy with my name. And my email is KhadijahCook, COOKE 85@gmail.com. So you can reach me there if you'd like.
Awesome. Do you have a website or anything that they can reach you out to?
I'm in the process. My website is being reconstructed right now.
Awesome.
But once it's up, I'll be sure to post that for you as well.
That's fantastic. Dee, can you tell us, what advice do you have for TRIO students that are listening to this podcast? So they've listened to a lot of your life story, and what's something that you've learned, something that you've experienced that you would like to share, or any advice that you have for TRIO students listening to this podcast?
I tell them that anything is possible. It's never how you start, it's always how you finish. And a lot of us, the cards that we're dealt may not be the greatest, but you take those cards, you shuffle them up, and you make them whatever you want to make them. And know that if you keep a positive mindset, you keep your goals first ahead of you, you'll be able to knock off those goals, and you'll get exactly where it is that you want to be. And you may shock yourself, you may get further. And
That's
don't
awesome.
ever give up on you.
I love that. I think students need to hear that more often, about not giving up and knowing that there's a system of support that will help them push forward. But also really just like that realization and reflection that they themselves can do it too.
It's
Absolutely.
needed.
So I'm going to put you kind of on the hot seat, because now you've been a TRIO student, now you're a TRIO alumni, you are a professional. If you were in the seat, or you were giving a presentation to TRIO professionals in a room, say 30 to 50, what advice do you have for these TRIO professionals? Or maybe there's 100, maybe there's all of them listening.
I tell them to keep pushing. The future is listening. I know I wouldn't be where I am today without the professionals that helped me. I'd say just keep pushing and keep showing the students that they can do it. Keep bringing those resources in. Don't be afraid to think outside of the box. Do what you have to do to reach the youth, and let them know that the possibilities exist. Absolutely.
That is truly wonderful. That's a great reflection. Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
we have arrived at the toughest part of the podcast. I'm going to ask you the toughest question on here. Using only one word, describe yourself.
Ooh, that is tough, because I think of a million words. I guess I say there's one word to describe me. I'd probably say perplexed.
Perplexed. Perplexing?
Oh, maybe.
Or just perplexed?
Let's say optimistic. I'll just go
optimistic. I love optimistic. That's a really good one. Can I put optimistic / perplexed?
Yes. We need the slash.
We need the slash in there. All right. What are you currently reading, listening to, or watching?
Oh my goodness. The book is literally on the side of I think it's called like the Challenger Cell. It's about like landing cells. But as far as like
Wow.
watching, I've been watching 911. It's a series on ABC.
I've heard about the series. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad right now because the main, like one of the main characters, he's no longer on the show. So everyone's
I'm sorry.
But that's kind of what I'm reading right now, and that's what I'm watching. And as far as listening, I'm always listening to jazz. I love John Coltrane. I love Miles Davis.
Very good.
I love I love just music with no words.
You know, you and I kindred spirits in that way. I love music with no words just because it allows you to kind of zone out, reflect, and just really be in the moment.
Yes,
So I get that.
That's the best part about it.
So, Dee, it has been a pleasure to hear you about your trio journey, your journey in college, your current career, you being a speaker. That is amazing work that you're doing. And thank you for sharing your story with Trio Nation.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy. Thank you.
So we have a tradition on the Let's Talk Trio podcast where we have the guests sign off. Do you care to do the honors? We are at the end.
Absolutely. Hi, this is Khadijah Dee, Trio alumni, Instructional Designer Project Manager at eDesign Consultant. I graduated from the University of South Carolina Lancaster, the University of South Carolina Upstate, and Liberty University. Trio works.
Are you a participant, alum, or staff of a Trio program? Do you want your program highlighted? You or your program could be featured in an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Trio. Get a hold of us by going to our Facebook page or Instagram and send us a direct message. Search for Let's Talk Trio. We want to get your story to the public.
You just heard from our guest, Khadijah Dee, Trio alum and Instructional Design Project Manager at eDesign Consulting. Thank you, Khadijah Dee, for being on the podcast and for sharing your Trio journey. Remember, if you would like to be on the Let's Talk Trio podcast or know a staff, advocate, participant, or alumni, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Vialpando, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jeff Nepute, Angelica Valdez, Rosario Riley, Felicia Rivera, Eric LaMaster, Jeff Kahlden, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, The Trio Store, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for Trio graduation stoles. Longsdale Publishing, and StudentAccess. Thank you all so much for your support of this podcast. You too can sponsor the Let's Talk Trio podcast in one of three ways. Become a monthly patron on Patreon. Our base level starts at $1 a month. Become a corporate sponsor by placing an ad on the podcast. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast PayPal account. Our business handle is @Let'sTalkTrio. I'd like to take a moment to thank our honorary members of the Let's Talk Trio podcast, Roderick Chambers, Tony Ho, Scott Kendall, and Susan Cramp. The Let's Talk Trio podcast team is John Russell, audio engineer, music producer and composer, and post-production editor. Amelia Castaneda, script supervisor, marketing manager, social media manager, and producer. Juan Rivas, executive producer and host. Be sure to follow the Let's Talk Trio podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This episode was recorded Monday, April 21st, 2025. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode.